You must be thinking to yourself, ugh, I was rejected. Ugh, I didn't get accepted into the school I wanted to. Ugh, I really want to be a CRNA. What do I do now? Well, in this video, we're going to talk all about that and give you some tips and tricks to help you with your future endeavor to become a CRNA. So definitely keep watching. My name is Christine and welcome to new videos. Your first time here and you want to become a CRNA or grow your CRNA career. Start now by subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss anything. I know it can be difficult being in a situation where you're like, I'm rejected. I feel like, should I even continue on? You know, it definitely affects your self-esteem. It makes you feel like, what was wrong with me? I mean, was I not good enough? Well, I know you're in a tough time right now, and I'm here to say thank you so much for being here on YouTube and watching my videos. You know, I'm here to give you a lot of knowledge and power to be successful in whatever you want to do. You know, it may not become a CRNA, it may be something else, but I'm here to say to you, I'm here to motivate you, I'm here to inspire you, and I'm here to allow you to thrive in your career. Especially to become a CRNA, because I love being a CRNA and I want you to become a CRNA too. I want you to join this amazing practice. This is such an amazing profession to be in. And of course, there's many areas that are amazing in nursing, and which, you know, depending on how you feel and what you want to do, you know, I definitely recommend shadowing. But, you know, saying right now you're in a situation where you want to become a CRNA and you are rejected. Or maybe you're rejected in your first stepping stone to become a CRNA. Maybe you're trying to become a registered nurse and you're rejected to become a registered nurse. You know, you applied to a program, you wanted to get accepted, you didn't get accepted, you're like, what happened? Or maybe you're in the ICU and you're like, oh, or maybe you're before the ICU actually. You're before the ICU and you want to get into the ICU and it's difficult. You're not getting accepted into an ICU, for example, to get that exact clinical experience to become a CRNA. You know, that is difficult and that is rejection. And I mean, we've all been through it before. I mean, even if it's been something different, this is the thing to you right now is so important. You know, you're like, I want this now. I want to do this. And I'm doing everything I can in my power, but why am I getting not accepted? And I know that feeling is I've been through it too in many different avenues in life. I mean, when I was going to become a registered nurse, I didn't get accepted into an RN program right away. So to give you an example, I remember when I was first in biology and then I was chemistry, biochemistry. I mean, I was in all the sciences. And then I actually realized I shadowed a nurse and I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do. So I shadowed and I'm like, this is what I got to do. My school didn't offer it. So I'm like, I have to transfer. I transferred to another school. I wasn't initially accepted into a nursing program, but I knew they had a nursing program. So I was just like, what can I do to get myself into this program? So I know that feeling is when you're like right there, but it's not happening. But I'm here to tell you that, you know what? Stop for a moment, breathe, and say to yourself, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're confident, you're not gonna give up. You're gonna get everything back in order. And yes, I know it's difficult to say that. I've been through it and I know that feeling. But you have to say to yourself that I will continue. I will grow. I will figure out a way to get myself back on track. Because it's tough, you know? It affects your ego. But let's focus on what is the solution. What can we do to fix this situation? I may not fix it, but make it a better situation. Well, look at your application. Look at your resume. Look at your essay. Think back of when you went for your interview. How did that happen? Think about your GRE scores. Think about your ICU experience itself. Where, you know, those are some things to start thinking about, brainstorming. So I would definitely recommend you to do that. You know, take a piece of paper and start brainstorming. Figure out, I know you're in this mellow moment, but you got to figure out what you have done. Not that you've done anything wrong, but what can you do to make things better and how we can motivate ourselves and go on the right path to get back on track. So let's start off. So let's think about your ICU experience, you know, think about it. Okay, how many years of experience did I have? So yes, I know applications say 1 year minimum ICU experience. And I have seen people who got accepted into a CRNA program with 1 year of experience. But maybe you need more experience, and that's okay. Maybe you need a couple more years of experience because maybe the hospital you're working at, you didn't really get sick patients. Maybe your ICU was very small and you really didn't get the wide range of experience on your unit. So think about that too. Also, is it a teaching hospital? Was it a trauma hospital? What type of ICU you're involved in? Neuro ICU, cardiovascular ICU, medical ICU, where you were flotating around. So think about that too, as what kind of ICU experience you have and what kind of ICU's experience you can get to get better experience. Maybe, I know it's tough, you're in a comfortable situation right now, you're in ICU and you love it, it's your culture, it's everything for you, but maybe you need to go to another ICU that's more of a higher level of care. Now, I know maybe you're in a small hospital and you have no other option. This hospital is maybe 100 miles away from like an urban city, for example, and that's the only option you have. Well, take the steps now in that specific ICU to get the sickest patients. Okay, so yes, you may have had all types of patients, but try your best to ask, your nurse manager, your charge nurse, say, hey, I want to get the sickest patients. So whenever you do have those patients, please put me to take care of those patients. Get involved in that way. Now think about it too. Yes, you have ICU experience. What kind of ICU experience in general, like activities within the hospitals where you're involved in? Because it's important, yes, to get ICU experience, which is important, and good ICU experience, but also you have to be involved on your unit. So say, for example, you were never involved on your unit. You didn't do any extracurricular activities. So start now by figuring out steps to get involved. Maybe be a part of a committee, or also maybe become part of the code team, for example, or maybe try to be a champion on your unit. Try to do some unit protocols, do anything you can on your unit to improve your unit. Ask your nurse manager. Also research. If there's some type of research experience, even if it's outside of ICU nursing, but it's research experience in general, I think it's very good. It looks good on your resume because you got to remind yourself that when you're going to go to, a CRNA program, you get accepted, you have to think about it too, that is a lot of these programs are research based. They're doctoral based. They're really focused on research. And so get yourself involved, try to get yourself, a part of research project, look into different avenues where you can do that. Maybe develop your own research project on your unit. Maybe talk to the attending doctors and see what they're doing and how you as a registered nurse can be involved on their project. So these are some ideas of how you can, yes, you're rejected, but you know what? What are you going to do now? What are you going to focus on to get what you want? And I'm here to give that to you, and I'm here to give you that positive energy. And I'm here to help you troubleshoot. Another thing. So say, for example, you have your ICU experience that's really good. You're involved on your unit. You've done research and you're like, I did all of those things, Thrive CRNA. Like, why am I still not accepted? Now let's look at your grades. Yes, of course. Yes, I know you're saying to yourself, grades. Yes, got to think about it too. With the CRNA program, it's very competitive. Program. So grades do matter to a certain extent. Of course, maybe you have good grades, but not the best grades, but it's also a pot. They look at all different things, not just your grades, because you have great grades, but then you're not involved, or you haven't done research, or your interview wasn't the best. That speaks a lot to a program. So then think about it too. Yes, grades are important, but look at your transcript. Look at the classes that you've taken. And a lot of the science based classes are very important when you think about your application. So yes, maybe you took Hebrew, for example, which is a great class to take, but it's an elective class, and maybe you got a C in that. I don't think that's going to weigh heavily on your application compared to your biology, for example, or chemistry, and maybe you got a C in that class. Well, those classes are science-based, which are very important. So when they do look at your grades, they look at your grades, yes. They look at the whole entire number, but they also look at individual classes. So maybe you're weaker in a certain area versus another area. So if you took an anatomy physiology class, a pathophysiology class, a research class, for example, maybe you didn't get the best grades and you're like, ugh, maybe that could be something that I can work on. In my opinion, I know it's more money out of your pocket, more time and energy. But if you want to be accepted into a CRNA program and you really want to strengthen your application, retake the certain classes that you may need to. Maybe it's 1 or 2 classes you have to retake. And that could be like a summer program for a summer class, for example. And you could take 2 classes, and sometimes depending on the school, a community college, for example, and retake the classes, get stronger grades on it. So especially now, for example, if you're out of school and you're working, now you have the time and energy just to focus in on 1 class or 2 classes versus, of course, when your nursing program is overwhelming. You have multiple classes, there's a lot of energy that's all over the place. So, but now that you're focused and you kind of have your experience going along, now you can really take that time to go back and take a class or 2 if you have to. And I feel it's important because you want to get accepted, and I'm here to give you some tips. Another thing, think about your interview. So yes, I remember my interview. I was so nervous. I still remember, sitting in the lobby, dressed professional, very professional attitude. And of course I felt confident, but at the same time I was nervous. And of course I bet anyone in the room knew I was nervous. And to keep me calm, I had like notes that I was just reviewing my CCRN information. So that helped calm me, for example. And then I remember looking at positive affirmations, positive quotes, getting my mindset right, because you need that energy, because sometimes the energy around you may not be the best, but you got to focus in on your energy. And so I did that. And I remember like sitting in front of multiple professors, and being nervous and being asked questions in all different directions. And it was tough. But I made sure my recommendation is to really know your CCRN information. That book that you studied for your exam, know it in and out. Because maybe your interview wasn't the strongest. Maybe they asked you certain questions you just didn't know, And a lot of the questions that they will ask, I have a video on that. Definitely check it out on how to get prepared for your interview. And actually, I have some tips and tricks, as well as a lot of different questions that I have been experienced when I did my interview, as well as other students have, kind of questions they've kind of been asked, and can help you out a little bit. So definitely check out that video on that. And yes, maybe your interview wasn't the strongest. So maybe think about how you can make your interview the next time better. Or maybe it's an interview for your ICU, for example. You want to get into an ICU, for example, and you're looking for a job in that area. Think about your interview there too. Look at, the ins and the outs of what you can do better. So just definitely think about those things. And of course, your interview for your CRNA program. You want to be confident. You want to know your information in and out. And so maybe you need to look over information like that. So I definitely recommend that. Another thing, your essay. So maybe think about your essay, look over your essay again. Maybe have someone else read your essay. Maybe have one of your friends, maybe someone in your ICU who you're really close with, and hey, look over my essay for, this is my essay, or maybe a friend, and let them look over it. Ask their opinion on what they thought about your essay. I know it's tough for criticism, but criticism is good because it's going to get you where you need to be at. And maybe it's things that you wrote in your essay, maybe it wasn't clear, maybe it wasn't where it needed to be at. And so that's an easy fix. So definitely make sure when you do your essay, you're speaking from your heart, you're speaking from inside. Also refer to your resume, the things that you've been involved in. Depending on how they ask you for your interview, try to tie it in to maybe why you want to become a CRNA, and kind of tie into your experiences as well as your shadowing experience, for example, maybe the people you've been involved in. Those are some things to take into account with your essay. So definitely make it a really good, strong essay. And maybe that's one thing that you may have to look over and see what you can do better. Another thing, and actually it's a bonus tip because I feel like you need to know this, is that you are, amazing. You are focused. You are going to get what you want. And it's going to take time. It's going to take sometimes, patience, but you can't give up. And I'm here to give that to you. And I'm here to say to you that you can do it. And try to surround yourself. I know you're in a tough place right now, but try to surround yourself with good people. And as well as if you're in a tough situation and things are bothering you, seek someone you can speak it out, let it out, because you can't keep it in. And I'm sorry that you had to go through this, but you know what? We're gonna get you where you need to be at. So definitely check out a lot of my videos on tips and tricks, how to become a CRNA, and more. So definitely check those videos out. Maybe watch them all, look through them all, see what you can do to strengthen yourselves. I have a lot of information that I want to give to you and empower you to be successful. So if you want to learn more about CRNAs and how to grow your CRNA career, definitely click one of these videos over here, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.